What's up, family? So, if you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump? Every single one of them said yes, and that answer should matter to all of us. And today we're not just talking about a viral CNN panel or CNN clip, I would like to say. We're talking about why these black Trump voters stood their ground and why their decisions make sense for the country. Because this isn't about race. It's not about party loyalty. It's about results, common sense, policy over personality. So we're going to break it down piece by piece and talk about what these voters saw that made them switch and how that switch could be the smartest move for America going forward. So with no further ado, let's check out the clip first.
You weren't always a Republican.
No, actually, I come from a family that was like super Democratic. My first time voting, I voted Democrat. I voted for Joe Biden.
What about Trump appealed to you?
Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, part of it is he's an asshole. I like authenticity.
You voted for Obama then you voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but 2020 you voted for Donald Trump. What made the change?
I began listening to someone. Her name is Candace Owens, and I read her book, and it just opened my eyes to maybe he's not this person that I have been led to believe that he was.
So you voted against Trump in 2016,
Yes.
but then in 2020 you voted for him?
Absolutely.
Why?
I saw how things were going during his first term, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I was pleased with what was happening. I saw the economy getting better. I saw country relations in certain countries getting better.
You weren't always a Republican.
No,
All right, family. So let's start with the obvious. These weren't lifelong Republicans. One of them voted for Joe Biden in 2020, his very first vote. Another one voted for Obama, then Hillary, then in 2020, Trump. So what happened? And as always, we having a conversation. I wanted to preface the conversation with the clip and also give you guys a little bit of context at the beginning when I did speak before we watched the clip of what we're talking about. So what happened? Reality set in. They watched Biden take office. They watched inflation hit their wallets. They watched crime rise. They saw open borders, weaker jobs, and a cultural shift that felt more performative than practical. And they didn't change parties for fun. They changed because they experienced the results. And they saw it through the headlines and asked a simple question: am I better off under this administration, right? And when the answer was no, they made a different choice. And that's called critical thinking. That's what every voter should be doing. And one woman said it straight: I like authenticity. And a guy you see right here in the clip, he said authenticity as well. So Trump's not polished. He's not a scripted politician, but a lot of people respect that. Why? Because authenticity beats pandering. And the Democrats have built a strategy over appealing to groups based on identity, but many Americans, black, white, Latino, Asian, are tired of being reduced to a checkbox. And Trump didn't come in offering people safe spaces. He offered them something better: opportunity. And he said, you can build, you can earn, you can grow, and government will get out your way. And that's the message that resonates, especially with people who care about faith, family, business, and freedom. So, as you guys seen, this panel wasn't just about Trump, it was about values. So, family, right? One woman said, I care more about feeding my kids than the ones who on a $20 bill. That's not ignorance, that's focus. Symbolism doesn't pay the rent. And then when it comes to opportunity, these voters wanted to thrive, not just survive. Trump era policies like tax cuts, deregulation, and minority small business growth gave them a taste of that. Law and order, right? Because the most important things for states to thrive and cities to thrive, you have to have strong infrastructure, roads and stuff, strong public safety, law and order, a good education system for kids and generations to come. And you have to also have thriving business, right? You have to have thriving business and individuals that feel safe and feel as though their kids can thrive there when it comes to families, because then generations to come, you will have plethora of families staying in that town, and that town continue to grow, was then creating businesses, supporting businesses in the community, thriving, will then open up more business opportunities to other corporations that want to come to a thriving community, right? Because we live in a capitalistic environment and America is capitalistic in itself. So if you have people wanting to be there, they feel safe, they put their kids there, they have resources in that community, let alone that state, so that city within that state, then obviously corporations will flock there because they have people there, which then also would thrive from a big box business. For example, let's say a Walmart or a Costco, right? So when it comes to law and order, while the media may push all the cops are bad narrative, one woman proudly stood up for police because her husband is becoming one. And she reminded everyone that even the best cops are being vilified. And when good officers walk away, communities suffer the most. Now, and I could show you guys more of the clip on CNN because that clip was just one clip out of many things that were said in this panel, when it comes to this whole CNN panel. So actually, I'll show you guys. We'll actually go to the clip, right? Just to give you guys a little bit of backstory so you know what I'm talking about. For those who may not have watched the clip, and the whole panel in itself. So if we go, let me see. See if I can pull it up. Or actually go back to X, formerly known as Twitter. That's the individuals that we seen. It was another individual who have spoken.
Read her book.
Getting better. I saw country relations in certain countries getting better.
What are some things that he's doing that you do like?
For me, I like the border. I just don't like the idea of someone coming here illegally and getting benefits that can serve my community. So that's the reason why I support him on that border policy.
When you think about the border, you think about people coming here who are getting more help than people who live here and who were born here.
Yeah. And I got that perspective not from news channels. I got it from social media. TikTok is like a holy grail. We even see it with the things that we learn about the United States government outside of the United States. People are showing Americans, hey, look at what's going on. Do y'all know that your government is doing this? Have you seen this? Have you looked at it from this perspective?
You know, people, when they think about a Trump voter, they usually think about like a white dude with like a red hat on and a pickup truck, and y'all are not that at all. So Donald Trump's team went in, they took down Harriet Tubman's picture for a quick minute. They're trying to like knock out the black museums. What does that have to do with the price of eggs, and how does that impact you?
In some ways, it's a slap in the face. In other ways, I don't care. I care more about how I'm going to take care of my children.
I don't think the average American cares about that. I know I am sick and tired of seeing Black people sit there and complain about something, but not taking action and steps to actually try to change things in an appropriate.
Actually, exactly. They don't come to the table and actually have effective dialogue. So it's better for generations to come than instead they'll be stuck in yesteryear and keep talking about problems that they don't even have solutions or have a productive conversation to fix them.
Better.
Under the Trump and Biden administration, they came to certain agreements with police departments to be less brutal toward the black community. Trump has now ended all that. How does that help the black community?
I have a lot of.
I could tell you how. It ended the community. Well, it didn't end the community when it comes to Trump decision. It ended the community when it comes to Biden situation, because obviously if you have bad kids that are, don't have no home training, it actually destroys the community because the cops are lenient on the kids and not holding the parents accountable, and the parents is not actually raising their kids up in the way they should go the right way to not destroy the community but build up the community and actually be viable to the community, pouring into themselves and being active in the community for the right reasons. Then that means that Not only are the police being lenient towards the child, but also to the parents that really holds the responsibility of the child. So then it's a domino effect of the parents who don't care about the child, which then leads to the child acting out and being feeling invincible and doing what they want to do. And cops won't do anything but what, pick them up and then take them back home to be coddled or to be misraised because the parents don't care in the first place. So then you have a monster built in a society that will then destroy the society because there's really no law and order that can do anything, not even hold the parents accountable, but try to talk to the parents and reason with the parents. But you can't reason with a parent who don't care about being a parent to raise a child in the first place. Well, let's continue.
Issues with police reform and just with how police officers are treated as a whole. My husband is currently going through the process to become a police officer. The amount of hatred that cops get, even the best ones, I think has become a huge problem because it has been, especially around election times, when it definitely comes out of like, oh no, the cops are bad, the cops hate you because you're black, they're immediately deemed as evil.
This man is talking about running for a third term. Now,
All right, we'll end it there. But you guys have seen basically what I said, right? When she talked about law and order. And when good officers walk away, basically communities suffer the most. She mentioned how the cops are bad narrative with the media that I mentioned. But when it comes to free thought, they said it loud and clear. We are not diehard Republicans. That's powerful. They are not a team. They're just thinking for themselves. And that's how real change happens. And let's look at some actual impacts that the Trump administration that did to support their decision. Black unemployment employment hit historic lows. HBCUs received permanent funding. Opportunity zones brought investment into struggling neighborhoods. And the First Step Act helped fix broken sentencing laws that disproportionately affected Black Americans, since we're talking about the Black topic, right? And that's not a theory, that's action. So now compared to the Biden term so far, gas prices surged. Inflation hurt low income families first. Border chaos strained resources. Student loan relief promised then blocked. Cultural fights ramped up, but real community issues stayed the same. No wonder people say, you know what? Maybe that Trump guy wasn't so bad after all, right? And what Van Jones and CNN didn't seem to understand was that these voters aren't confused or mistaked. They're informed and they're practical. But the media keeps underestimating them because the narrative is supposed to be if you're black, you vote Democrat, period. And I grew up with that kind of thinking, and I still have strong, supportive Democratic family members that feel like, for example, that if you vote Democrat, they are the ones that give the most money and support the black community. I don't really care about race. I actually care about, I'm just a pro American individual that cares about making sure that all individuals in all generations and all race are being effectively impacted in a positive way while this country operates in a positive way and not go bankrupt for generations to come with me having a child in this world as well. And I know you can understand from a parent perspective and also a person perspective. But that kind of thought when it comes to if you're black, you're Democrat, period, is insulting and more voters are rejecting it. And you don't have to agree with every word Trump says. You don't have to love his tone. But if you believe in hard work, free markets, law enforcement, and America's strength, then his presidency offers something real. So let's zoom out for a minute, right? These voters didn't just make a personal decision, they made a principled one. And if more Americans start thinking like this, here's what we get: a stronger middle class, safer streets, more jobs, less division based on race or identity, and government focus on function and our feelings. And when it comes to the middle class, that's on the only class that have three levels. So you got the upper middle class, you got the middle class, and you got the poor middle class. So let that sink in for a minute. But this is how you rebuild a nation, not by worshiping Trump, but recognizing policies that work and having the guts to vote your values, even when it goes against what your family, your community, or your TV screen says. And also, just to keep in mind, because I know a lot of people doesn't uh, feel like this matter, because sometimes most people focus on the national election, but not the one in their local communities or their state. Your governor of your state and also the mayor and individuals of your local communities actually have more power than the president. So you should be voting all across the board. But Yeah, they voted for Trump again, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. These are voters who did their own homework, looked past the drama, and made a decision that's best for themselves and for the country. And they're not rare; they're growing. And in 2024, in 2024, they were a deciding factor going into this election, going into electing a new president, which is President Donald Trump. And if this resonated with you, hit like and drop a comment and share this with someone who's still stuck in the mainstream media echo chamber. And let me know what you think. Did Trump policies help you or your family so far? And what does real progress look like to you? I am common sense over hype, country over party. I'll catch you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe, like I said, and join the family. But make sure that love supersedes the hate all the time and spread that peace, love, and positivity. And as always, family, peace.